Welcome back to the Just for Clicks podcast. I'm your host, Forrest Whaley, and with me today are Sean.
Hey.
And my wife, Alyssa.
Hello.
So, today we got a nice podcast in store for you. We're going to talk COVID-19.
Yay.
Yay. We're going to talk Am I the Assholes? And we're going to talk about some emails that you guys sent us. Some questions. We're going to try to solve your problems. That's always my favorite part. That's why I save it for right at the end. But yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. But before any of that, we're going to go ahead and go on Twitter and just kind of get our off-the-cuff reactions. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Twitter time. Twitter. Let's go ahead and go on the trending section of Twitter.
Oh boy, this is gonna be good.
Oh,
It's always good.
It's never good. Okay, first up, in wrestling news... Why do I get suggested this stuff? For you. Okay, sure. The Undertaker says his final farewell as he retires from WWE.
Oh, that's nice.
Farewell, The Undertaker. He'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back. Doja Cat's in the news again. Why don't you say congratulations to your AMAs? New Artist of the Year, Doja Cat. Didn't the AMAs happen like a few weeks ago? I don't even know what the AMAs are. AMAs.
It's the
American Music Awards.
Oh.
I feel like there's a new awards show like every week.
Yeah, I really could not care less about award shows.
Yeah.
Boring.
I think a lot of people are starting to lose interest because they're like, we're kind of going through stuff like economic wise. We don't really care about your little award shows, especially the Oscars. I think it's going to be a big
I wonder
flop.
what that'll be like this
It's going
year.
to be big. Well, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't even know what they're going to do.
There's not even movies that came out really.
Yeah,
this
no
year.
movies. So it's really probably just
Some
like
movies.
a weird celebration of movies. Maybe I don't know.
All right, let's go on.
Really-
That's the For You section. Let me go over the actual trending. AMAs, NFL, wrestling.
Ugh.
Well, it's a nice slow news day when sports are at the top of the
Okay.
trending. So,
Yeah.
no news is good news, guys.
Yeah.
Megan Fox is trending. She introduces Machine Gun Kelly's performance during the AMAs.
Is that today?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's.
We've all been under his spell. True. I mean, it's easy to fall under Machine Gun Kelly's charm. The Dallas Cowboys are up. They won their third game of the season after a 31-28 victory over the Vikings. Okay.
Nice.
My dad will be happy about that. That's my dad's favorite team.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Twitter. I think that's enough. I think we got all the news we could get in from Twitter. Joe Biden is expected to nominate something, yada yada. Bloomberg reports, yada yada. Okay, sure. All right, get Trump out of there first, Biden. All right, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's still there.
He's still there. Get him out. All right, you got work to do. Okay, well, let's move into the Am I the Assholes? And then we'll move into the marquee topic of COVID-19, and then we'll move into emails. How's that sound, guys?
Sweet.
Okay.
Nice.
Sweet, let's do it.
Save the best for last.
Okay, so these are from Reddit. They are Am I the Assholes? Okay, here we go. Am I the asshole for giving my old, slightly damaged MacBook to my cat and not my sister? Okay, so I know this sounds a little ridiculous, so bear with me. Just last week, I purchased a new MacBook for myself. My old one lasted me 5 years and is still technically working, but due to some water damage, the speakers are completely fucked. The screen flickers quite a bit when not charging, and overall, it's just slow. I have no use for it anymore. Regarding my cat, so I live in a fairly small apartment, and although it has windows, there really isn't much to see besides a few trees in the parking lot, really. I got my cat a few months ago and have a cat tree by the window, shelves and spaces so she can climb up high, and quite a few toys I play with. At first, my car had no problem hanging by the window, but eventually I noticed my car had no problem?
I think she meant cat.
Oh, there's a little typo here. At first, my car had... I'm like Ron Burgundy. I'll just read whatever you put in front of me. At first, my car had no problem hanging by the window. No, I'm not correcting it. But eventually, I noticed she started to get bored, and while I'm in the middle of working, she would constantly meow or do mischievous things. I put on cat TV a few times for her and noticed she really enjoyed it and would stare at it for hours. However... I would put this on my new TV as this was really the only free screen I had. She would at times pounce at the TV, once almost knocking it back. After I got my brand new laptop, I figured I'll barely get anything for selling my old one. I might as well use it for my cat. It worked great. I put on cat TV on YouTube and have the back of the laptop screen against the wall beside me. So while I'm working, she just sits there looking at the screen, occasionally pawing at it, and then falling asleep. Of course, I still play with her and give her plenty of pets, but I found this is a great way to keep her mentally stimulated. This also prevents any concern of her damaging my electronics or hurting herself. Okay, seems reasonable. I took a photo of her sitting and looking at the laptop because it looked like she was hard at work and thought it was funny and sent it to my family. My brother and mom laughed, but my sister messaged me. Sister, hey, you gave your MacBook to your cat? Me, yes. Mine was pretty banged up and I needed a new one and this keeps her occupied. Okay, well, if you're no longer using it, can I have it? Well, there really is no point considering there was so many issues with it. It's not like the cat owns it. I just use it for her to keep her occupied when I feel she needs to see more than just the parking lot. So you're going to keep it for your cat rather than give it to me who needs it for school? MacBooks aren't cheap. I'm aware they aren't cheap, but there are other companies. This basically went on for a little bit until she said I was being an inconsiderate asshole. If the MacBook was in better condition, I would totally give it to her. But fixing the screen and speakers and replacing the battery will cost about the same as or more as a mid-range Windows laptop. My mom and brother just kind of laughed at it and said not to worry, but my sister is being pretty cold with me. Am I the asshole? Wow. What do you think, Sean?
Oh, man. I've never experienced a cat being interested in a screen in my life.
Me neither.
So
honestly.
I honestly think it's a fake story.
It's literally fake news.
It's fake news, dude. I don't know.
What do you think, hon?
Well, I mean, if it's real, if the story's real.
I don't buy it. Sean's right. It seems fishy. I've only had 2 cats, so maybe...
Well, we used to turn cat TV on for Wesley and Jem.
But they went in like pod.
They went in pod.
What is cat TV?
It's like on YouTube. It's a channel, and it's just like, birds.
Oh, okay.
And, stuff that cats would enjoy looking at.
Like a 10-hour loop or whatever.
Yeah, and we would turn it on for them before we left the house sometimes, and they would look at it,
Yeah, because I would show my things to Peter on my phone, and he would just he never looks at the phone. Like, I take a picture of him, show it to him to see what he thinks, and he just doesn't look at the phone at all. Like, he'll look at my hand, or he's not concerned with screens at all. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess it depends on the animal.
Maybe the size of the screen too. Like, if it's a bigger, a laptop or a TV, it's kind of more oh, that's actually real. I don't know.
I don't know. I got a bunch of screens in my house. I've never noticed them looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's a pretty busted up laptop.
Yeah.
If the sister really wanted it, then she could have offered to pay for it instead of just assuming that
give it to her,
she should have it.
Yeah.
I really
Seems
dislike entitled people.
Yeah.
Seems a little entitled.
I feel like, she needs some boundaries. She can't just assume. It's still his laptop. Even if it's busted.
Right.
What if he just wanted 2?
Is it a he or her?
I
thought it was a her.
I don't know. It might be a her.
Whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, it's the laptop is obviously janky AF. Yeah, just save up some money like a normal kid. This kid just sounds really spoiled. Not the asshole.
Yeah, not the asshole.
Good job. Good job, everyone. I think we've come to a conclusion.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, good. We've solved this person's problem. Yeah, I think everyone agrees in the comments. I'm reading through the comments. One person says, I have to disagree with this. Because, listen, I understand you want to call your sister entitled, but at the end of the day, a busted laptop is better than no laptop at all. Many people here are making the assumption that she'll complain about the condition it's in. We don't know what her money situation is like, and I'm sure you can find cheaper alternatives to entertain your cat while you are away. We also don't know exactly the manner she approached you with, only your account of it, and Redditors are claiming entitled brat without the full story. You're intentionally prioritizing the happiness of your cat over the potential to help your sister out with her school. What you prioritize is really up to you, but you've asked to be judged for that. I personally think it's assholish behavior to put your cat over your sister. No matter which way you look at it, even if she has an attitude, you're giving up on your chance to be a nice brother and help her out. Oh, I guess it is a guy. You're passing up the opportunity to be merciful and help elevate your sister for the sake of a pet. Gotcha.
I agree with the comment after this one where it's like your cat is reliant on you, like the owner.
Yeah.
But humans, like the sister, has agency over her own life and can make things happen for herself.
Yeah.
You know, like cats can't really do that.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think that.
It's funny. Yeah, it's still her laptop. It's not like she gave it to the cat.
Yeah.
Cats can't own things. Okay, anyway, let's move on to the next one. We got another one for you here. Am I the asshole for allowing a dad to humiliate his son in my class? I teach 5th grade, which is usually a bit hit or miss in terms of behavior. I have one student, Calvin, who is quite disruptive. He's the class clown, except it's not cute. The other day, he climbed on top of the tables in the library and started dancing when he thought I was not looking. I've tried different ways to work around it, but I feel like I can no longer be Mr. Nice Guy. I assumed that his parents spoil him, so I was hesitant to talk to them because that seemed like a lost cause. The kid had his own driver. Boy, was I wrong.
Whoa.
I did speak to his dad, who was furious. He brought him to me and apologized. He said if he ever got a bad report like he did with the library, then he would sit with him in class like he was a baby. That threat seemed to get Calvin's attention, but seemed empty. I mean, the dude doesn't even have the time to drop off his kid at school. Dude, that's lit. Things were fine for a while, then he started up with purposely giving stupid answers when I called on him. I pulled him to the side and asked him if he wanted his dad to babysit him in school, and he said no because his dad wouldn't do it because it would embarrass him.
Oh.
So I emailed his dad and he asked if he could sit with him in class. Calvin didn't know it was going to happen and kept telling his dad to go. His dad stayed with him all day and Calvin hated it. He micromanaged, bossed, and snapped at him all day. I think the worst part was having his friends laugh at him. Calvin did cry a few times. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. That's commitment, though. His dad was like the boss from hell. Ever since then, the behavior has improved. Nice. It worked. It's a little tough love. And I know people will ask why I wasn't more hands-on with discipline. This is a $25 to $35K a year private school. A lot of the parents are famous entertainers, and there is a long wait list to get in. Things are very different than a public school. You're the asshole, and the father is too. I think that humiliation isn't an effective teaching tool. Well, obviously it was. I'm just reading some comments here. People are saying the kid is learning from those around him. Discipline shouldn't involve humiliation. I'm kind of torn because the kid was acting out and needed to be stopped. But the dad, being the boss from hell, doesn't seem like that kind of behavior you should want in a school. Yada, yada, yada. I don't know. I think I'm perfectly fine with this. I think that's a great alternative, than like spanking your kid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, you gotta punish them in some way. All these like young millennial like cucks, like I feel like they don't know, like they don't even want to have kids in the first place. Like they want to wait until they're like in their 40s to have kids. They'll never have kids. And like when they see other people actually being parents and parenting their kids, they're like, that's child abuse. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, if you're not allowed to hit them anymore, then like, how are you supposed to actually discipline them and teach them to be good people when they're being little shits?
Yeah, kids are monsters, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's great.
And you also can't make the right decision at all times. So it's kind of, I don't envy those teachers.
Yeah, for sure.
For real. What do you think, hon?
Yeah, I agree that I think this dad did the right thing. I think sometimes teachers struggle with disciplining their students, and they really do. It's really helpful when the parents, come in and step up for them.
I'd rather discipline them than having a random teacher discipline them.
Yeah. What better than having the parent do it?
Yeah.
Now
exactly.
the kid has a great memory with his dad.
Well, and
he'll appreciate that later on
exactly.
too. Like, it's not like he was beat or anything. It's not like he was like belittled.
Yeah.
He was somewhat belittled, but it wasn't like he was like emotionally abused. It was more just like,
It sounded like
this is like an embarrassing like dad thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's almost more embarrassing for the dad than it is for the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
But like, he did it anyway just to teach his kid a lesson.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like love.
It shows commitment too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
and he was warned.
I kind of respect that.
Yeah, like the ideal situation is that your kid is just a good kid at school.
Like his dad.
Yeah. So it's like, if you have to step in like that, it's like, oh, like my kid is really embarrassing me, like,
I wonder who it
So-
was. Do you think it was like some like Disney kid? He said there was like a lot of entertainers at this school and
But
stuff.
he took the day off work, man.
It was Cole Sprouse. Took the whole day off, dude.
Yeah.
That's fucking legendary right
from
there.
Getting money.
You're right, Sean. That's a good father-son
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
Bravo, dude. Yeah, all these people on Reddit are like saying you're the asshole, and it's just because they're a bunch of millennial cucks who never intend on having kids and just want to like feel superior to other parents.
I read in a book that was like, if you don't discipline your kids, like the world will do it for you, and they're not gonna be so.
That's
loving.
what they want, though.
Wow.
You know, like they're not like they don't like the world doesn't love your kid the way you do.
Right,
so
right.
you want to discipline your kids so they just like can exist in the world,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, they're gonna get disciplined way better by you than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think people want to just be able to like send their kid away and like not have to worry about them. Like that's like appealing to like these bad parents. Like this person says, it's the school's job to come up with appropriate punishments to deter such behavior. He should have been sent to the principal's office, given detention, suspended, etc. in regular escalating order, not given a special punishment that singled him out and humiliated him in front of his peers in a way that was clearly mortifying for him. I understand kids can be difficult to control, but that's the job you signed up for. You can't outsource controlling a child to their parent every single time a kid acts out. So Calvin shouldn't have been publicly put through this when no other student will, alienating him from his peers and making him a target for bullying. I don't know. I don't think that would make him like yeah, he'll get some like, you know.
I feel like expecting teachers to discipline your children for you is outsourcing.
Right.
You're
exactly.
the parent.
You're the parent.
Like your child, that's your kid.
And like the dad offered, he was like, hey, like, you know,
Yeah.
I'll come and do this. It's not like the teacher was like asking the dad like out of the blue, like, come do this. Like
Yeah.
this is the dad's idea.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And this is a public school, like they can do whatever the fuck they want. This isn't some bullshit like public school.
And he went to the parents. You know, like that's better. I feel like that's better because it's like, you know, he's addressing the real root problem. You know.
It sounds like it worked, right? Like the kid isn't an asshole anymore. So bravo. All right, sweet. Let's move on to the last. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for calling my wife a Karen as she was making a scene? Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Here goes. My wife and I are very opposites, like very. She tends to have narcissistic episodes when she doesn't get her way. She can sometimes treat people like shit. A while back, we were at Sonic getting some drinks during their happy hour, and they got this. Yeah, that sounds disgusting, honestly.
This couple sounds horrible.
Yeah. Oh god. Okay.
Yeah.
I used to enjoy Sonic when I was a kid, but like as I got older, I realized like how disgusting it is. I don't know, like like it's like too greasy or something.
Their menu's wild. They have a lot of different stuff.
And they have like the dirty roller skates. Getting some drinks during their happy hour, and they got the size wrong on a drink. She then asked the teenage girl, "How hard is your job?" Oh gosh.
I know.
Oh my god. That's like divorce material right there.
Yeah.
Wow. I was livid. I would be too. Oh man, you would never do that though, hon. You're nice. First off, Sonic was my first job as a kid. I went through PTSD mode of a customer yelling at me over a slight inconvenience.
I can see that.
I've been on the other side of that window. I just yelled out, "Hey, chill out." She got mad at me and said, "I don't know why you defend them when they can't do their job right." We let it go. Then it doesn't sound like you let it go. Fast forward to today. We have been trying to get our dog's nails trimmed for some time now at PetSmart, and we were finally able to make an appointment because of the Rona. We get there, and they can't find our names on the list, and they are pretty booked up till next week. She then starts to go off on the dog groomer and starts causing a scene, saying, "How could you lose my appointment? I've been waiting for weeks. I wish we lived in Boston because they have more pet marts and competent people working instead of useless people like you." I was embarrassed and livid at the same time, so I grabbed her arm and said, "Stop being a Karen and get in the car now. I will handle this." Oh, the cucks aren't going to like that. The cucks aren't going to like that he grabbed her arm. She storms off to the car, and I apologized to the staff, told them to call me instead of her, and apologized again. I seriously cannot stand it when people are rude to public servants. I couldn't keep quiet anymore. When I finally go outside, I find out that she left me there. I call her, and she sends me to voicemail. I take a lift home. Jesus. This
That's
is why you don't
insane.
give your wife the keys.
I break down the door. I murder her.
Oh my
Am
God.
I the asshole?
I murdered her. Am I the asshole?
I murdered her. Am I the asshole?
When I finally go outside, I find out, she left me a yada. I get home and she's mad in tears. She says that I embarrassed her and made her look like a fool. When a partner should always have their partner's back no matter what.
Yeah.
She made herself look like a fool.
I told her that I disagree on that. She has now been giving me the silent treatment for about 6 hours now. Ooh, committed.
6 hours.
That's a long ass time.
Edit, yes. I love this person. Edit 2. She's my work in progress. We have talked about... What? She's my work in progress. We have talked about her behavior when we were engaged, and I called off the wedding due to her behavior.
Ooh.
She acknowledged it and said that we are good for each other because I keep her grounded. But she sometimes reverts to her narcissistic self at times. Edit 3. She herself dubbed herself work in progress, not me. Okay. Wow. Okay. Is he the asshole? No, he's not the asshole.
Yeah.
Well, I would. I'll chime in here with this one because I think it's just you shouldn't bring your baggage in the store. I don't know. I feel like calling a person it does feel like a betrayal to call somebody a
K word.
Yeah, a K word.
Yeah.
And, I feel like it's like don't do that. Don't embarrass.
He's trying to make like a meme out of it.
Yeah.
And it's like this is a serious situation.
Yeah. I wouldn't embarrass. What is it? His wife.
Yeah, his wife.
Like, I wouldn't embarrass his wife like that for really any reason. I don't know. I feel like I would treat it differently. I just don't like that Karen word.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I can't relate to this because Alyssa's just so nice. Yeah. I just wouldn't have married someone who acted like this, ever.
I feel like I've been around people who act like this, and, I've been, in situations where the person that I'm hanging out with is... really being rude to the waitress or something, and it's so embarrassing. I could not imagine if Forrest was like this. And I hung out with Forrest all the time. We go everywhere together, and he was acting like this regularly. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So yeah, I do have a lot of sympathy for this guy. I know, I guess it's not cool to necessarily embarrass your partner. But I don't know. I like the word Karen. I feel like it's a good word to use for these for these women who are kind of just really entitled or think that they can just talk to people.
It's basically entitled white women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had it coming, but I'm just not. I just don't like stereotypes, and I don't like more stereotypes. We have enough. We have enough in this world.
I just I mean,
we have enough name calling.
Yeah, I guess it's somewhat childish to call a name. I feel like, I would be very, very livid with the person, and the person does need to be called out, and they do need to be told off. I mean... And
then she left him there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was messed
up. And
he
had to lift. That's... another whole step. That's another super worse.
That's pretty bad.
You can't treat people like that.
Yeah.
Though. You just can't. He shouldn't have made a meme out of the situation, called her Karen or whatever. But I would just be so pissed. And she really deserves whatever she gets. Yeah, like I said, there's someone in the comments saying he shouldn't have grabbed her arm like a fucking cuck. I just knew it. It's I can predict these cuckery moves by these people in Reddit. Oh, you're not allowed to grab your wife's arm anymore when she's being a bitch. Yeah, it's you should just fucking grab her arm and drag her out of there and try to make the smallest scene possible.
Yeah.
Don't grab her arm and move her around a bunch and fucking call her a Karen and apologize. Just grab her arm, be we're going, and we just leave. Don't be forceful, don't be rude. Just be straight to the point and get out of that situation because the people working there, they just want you gone. You know what I mean? They don't want to hear your apologies. They don't want to hear your fucking bullshit. They just want you out of the store. Because people who act like that, they can't be calmed down in an instant. It takes them time to simmer down. So you just have to remove them from the situation because they're just not equipped to deal with real life. Yeah, I've had people in my family who have acted like that, and it's just they're so ridiculous and they're so in the moment that they can't even act like real people.
Yeah,
I think we all have.
Yeah, so it's just best to remove them from that situation. Yeah, his work in progress. Oh, jeez, good luck with that, buddy. Good luck with that.
Usually that means it's not gonna work out.
They both need to treat each other better. All right, let's move into our marquee topic of the week. We're going to talk about COVID-19. It's the best flu you've ever seen. Okay, so COVID-19, obviously it's a big issue. I made a tweet earlier. I fleeted. I did a fleet. No, I just tweeted it. I said, a quick fact check for anyone who needs to hear it. If you are a healthy individual and catch COVID, it is highly, highly unlikely that you will die from it. This is true. We are talking less than 1%. Confirmed cases have been inflated and deflated across the globe for various political reasons. However, this is still a very serious issue, and we should all take the precautions we each feel are necessary. Following that up, I said, that being said, I believe these decisions should be left up to the individual, and businesses should not be forced to close. If you find yourself disagreeing with that, then understand you disagree with the concept of freedom. So I tried to word this in like the least assholey kind of way possible, the least judgy kind of way, because like I do respect other people's opinions. You know, some people think that like you should be fined, you should be jailed for not wearing a mask. If some people think, you know, you should be forced to close your business, you know, that it's worth it. No matter the risk to the economy, it's worth it to save any amount of life. I'm just more pragmatic than that. I think people who believe that type of tomfoolery are just thinking a lot with their hearts and they're not really thinking with their heads. You really have to approach this type of situation with a long-term perspective and try to find a good balance between the two. Like, yes, we should be taking precautions. Yes, we should be being safe, you know, washing our hands regularly whenever we leave a building or enter a building, you know, have hand sanitizer, you know, wear a mask, obviously. Like, this is the kind of stuff that seems like common sense to me. What's not common sense is shutting down businesses, enacting curfews, making people stay inside their homes, you know, like that just comes across as very creepy.
Yeah, authoritarian.
Not something that I want to be participating in. And it makes me take the experts' opinions like less seriously. Because like, how can I trust someone who keeps telling me different things? You know, like the CDC has just consistently been saying different stories the entire time. And it's like, well, we're trying to figure this virus out. We're trying to figure out, you know, we're still learning new information. It's like the information hasn't really changed. You know, the virus, it infects people at a high rate. People can be asymptomatic and still carry it for like 2 weeks or whatever. So it's very easily spread. And then also it kills, you know, less than 1% of the people that get it. Like basically, it's not something you should be that worried about if you are a healthy individual. If you're elderly or immunocompromised, that's a different story. And we need to protect those people. But we also shouldn't be destroying our small businesses. And this virus is just like making people so scared that we're forcing these people to shut up. And pretty soon all that's going to be left are the big corporations that can afford just to survive. So I feel like that's a really serious issue. And no one really seems to care like about that. No one really seems to think that like this will impact the economy in any kind of negative way. Like they think that we can just shut down forever until there's a cure, you know, like it just sucks because like when it first started, it was like, let's shut down for 2 weeks. Like, okay, that's totally cool. And then it was like, well, let's shut down until we can flatten the curve on the hospitals. And we did that. And it's like, okay, now let's just shut down whenever they tell us to. But like, where are the stimulus checks? You know, they're not coming. Like,
yeah, they're not coming. So like, those people, you know, now we know for a fact that, you know, they're not coming, you know, because they constantly put it off. So we have to do what's right for ourselves. You know, at this point, we have to do what's right for ourselves, and we have to keep working because that will kill us. Not working. That will be the thing that kills us.
We can't all just sit in our homes all day and doing nothing, playing video games and getting checks from the government.
Exactly. Yeah. Because that's not coming.
Our society can't even run like that. Most people can't afford to not leave their house. There still has to be food that's grown. You know, people say like, oh, like order DoorDash, you know, get your food delivered. Someone still has to go to the store for you, pick that food up, and bring it to your house. How is that helping anyone? Why don't you just take the risk and you go do it?
It's easy to think that there's always going to be somebody there to bring you your food. It's easy to think that, but
it's such an entitled perspective.
If we keep going the way we go, those people won't be there to even bring the food to the supermarket.
Right.
So anytime anybody tells you something that disempowers you, you gotta think differently because we're in a weird place where disempowering people is a good thing apparently. and relying on government is the right thing to do, which is totally backwards.
It's just so crazy how willing people are to like trust the government.
Yeah.
These are like politicians who literally line their pockets with corporations' money.
Yeah.
And then we're expecting to like turn around and trust these people. These are the people who are ruining our country. We have to take it upon ourselves to do what's best for ourselves and our family. We can't just like always trust them wholeheartedly. We have to actually think about what we're doing and the implications of our actions. Did you have anything to say, hon?
Yeah, like, I guess one thing I can contribute because I agree with you guys, like, everything you just said, but, like, you know, newborns don't have great immune systems.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
well, they're growing up.
yeah, like, so I'm not afraid for me to get COVID or for Forrest to get COVID or for any of the adults, you know, healthy adults in my life to get COVID. But when my daughter's born, I am going to take precautions, be selective of who I have in my house. I might ask people to wear masks in my house for the first few months of her life, but that's my personal choice. The government shouldn't be able to tell me to do that. Just because my baby will have a weak immune system when she's born, like, that doesn't mean that everyone in the whole world needs to cease life as they know it.
Yeah, we just need to
Like,
take
you know.
our own precautions.
Yeah, it's my responsibility. Yeah, it's mine and Forrest's responsibility. And then, yeah.
Not everyone can afford to just like get food delivered to their house.
Yeah.
That's more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's way
Not to
more
mention
expensive.
eating, not to mention buying the food.
Buying the food, yeah, tipping the driver, and that driver's the one taking the risk. So you're just mitigating the risk over to someone else.
Yeah.
And it's just really selfish. And like, yeah, I just kind of wanted to like go through some of the comments because I posted this on Twitter and I mostly got people who were like agreeing with me. Like I didn't really get that many people arguing with me on Twitter, and I kind of wanted to create more of an argument because I know I've just been seeing like a lot of tweets and stuff, like Twitter threads from like communists and stuff who are like saying like the government should just like take care of us and like we basically should all just listen to the government all the time, not question anything. So I posted this on Twitter and like most people were just like liking and retweeting and stuff, and I was like, I know there are people out there who like disagree with these beliefs that I hold. So like I posted it on Instagram.
Yeah, maybe.
I would say like about half people agree with me, and then another half, you know, have an issue with it or downright disagree with me. So I wanted to read some of the more kind of egregious comments here and kind of get your guys' takes on them, and maybe I could respond. I think I responded to the most of the comments directly, but I'm still learning about the situation too. I'm still forming my thoughts. That's part of the reason why I posted this, just so we could have this like kind of dialogue and discussion. Because I just see so many people in my circle kind of just like straight up buying into the news cycle and buying into this story that we're being fed every day. And you really have to kind of stop and pause and think about like the motivations of these like newspapers. Yeah. Like they're trying to get clicks. They're trying to make the situation seem worse than it really is because that's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the attention. All right, let's see.
Yeah, I just want to say too, you're not getting misinformation when you do your own research. You know, I think you know, you should always do your own research for anything. And like there's a lot of people out there saying, especially like even like the New York Times and things like that, saying like don't do your own research. You know, all what's out there is what you should know. And like I think it's bullshit. I think, you know, there's plenty of stuff online that, you know, we can all learn from. So I think if you want to learn something, you should just go online. You know, don't be afraid to look online.
Sam Bluestead says, of course you're probably not going to die. We've known that. We're quarantining to protect the at-risk demographics. Just because you'll recover quick doesn't stop you from spreading it to someone's grandma, someone with asthma, someone with subpar health. This take is incredibly selfish, bad post OP. Yeah, so like the thing is with this is like, what do you expect us to do? Do you want us to quarantine until there's a vaccine? Because there might never be a suitable vaccine. Hopefully there is. I hope that the vaccine works really well and hopefully it will be very effective. But there's also the chance that we'll never come out with a vaccine or it'll take 10 years. Do you expect people to stay inside in quarantine for 10 years to protect people who are 95 or people who are 350 pounds? Most people aren't at risk. You know, it's a very small percentage of population, like 3 or 4% of the population is immunocompromised. So like you have to like take that into consideration and weigh. It's a balancing act. It's not an all or nothing type of thing. So, you know, obviously I think you should wear masks and be safe, but I don't think you should just lock yourself in your house for 10 years until they tell you it's safe to come out. Kershaw Lego says, your freedom stops when it can affect someone else's life. In this case, no one should go out because not only would we be putting our lives in danger, but also you're putting in danger others' lives. If we don't follow the experts' rules now, there may not be a future for us. Okay.
Oh my,
Wow.
that one was like a lot.
That one hurts.
Well, there will be a future for us. This isn't the bubonic plague. I think this is like another issue is like we've been so inundated with media regarding the apocalypse and so inundated recently with like TV and stories about the end of the world that the first sign of trouble, we all just think like, this is the end times. This is it.
Yeah.
And we had this like kind of natural feeling to get ready to prep, you know, to go buy all the toilet paper. And it's like, guys, this is a bad virus. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Okay, the Spanish flu is way worse than this, and that was only 100 years ago. But no one remembers that. We didn't have Twitter back then.
Yeah.
This is the first big virus that's happened while we had the internet and while we had social media. So of course it's going to be inflated, and people are going to think it's way bigger because everyone's going to be talking about it, and it's going to seem like the end of the world when it's really not. So you have to weigh that when you decide not to leave your house.
Personally,
Again, it goes back to like, how are you going to get your supplies? Who's going to make the supplies? You're still relying on other people to go out there and go outside their house. And you're in a very privileged position if you can afford to stay in your house for 10 years.
We can't hide from nature.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
That's another
it's
thing,
like,
yeah.
what if we counted every single time someone got like just the regular flu? I just feel like at the beginning of this whole thing in March, it was a lot more logical and made a lot more sense. Everyone kind of accepted that everyone was going to get it at some point, or most people were going to get the coronavirus.
Yeah, when it first happened, the CDC estimated that by the end of the summer, 70% of people would have had it already.
Yeah, and it wasn't necessarily about not getting it. It was like the first quarantine, like the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, that was just so hospitals wouldn't get overpopulated. You know, it was kind of just to slow the spread. It wasn't to necessarily stop it. And now people have this mindset that we need to just absolutely stop.
Yeah,
like
we need to control it like we control everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we can find a vaccine soon, and hopefully it works and doesn't, you know, cause the rage virus or anything.
I'm a little bit weary of the vaccine situation. I just think it's happening so fast.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's...
yeah. It's not really recommended to warp speed a vaccine.
Yeah, literally warp speed.
Warp speed a medication for everyone and treat everyone like one size fits all.
Yeah.
We are not one size fits all.
Burger Squad says, to be honest, man, I get what you're saying, but I don't think any government would purposely blow up their economy. The fact that this virus shut down the world is, to me, a testament to its legitimate threat. But to be honest, I'd like to hear your counter to this point. Yeah, so this is another thing. I think a lot of people just assume that the response level to any situation is accurate. Like, they just assume that adults run the world and that adults will take care of things and that people are smart. And this isn't always the case. It's sad, but it's true. I mean, there aren't always smart people making these decisions. Isn't always a Superman who's going to come down and make the correct decision for you, and all you have to do is listen. You know, I think it's easy for people to, like, look to someone to, you know, be their savior, to look to someone and be like, who do I listen to? Do I listen to this person? Like, okay. There are multiple doctors saying conflicting things.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
There's a lot,
you can look to, there's lots of doctors who say all sorts of conflicting things, not just about the COVID, but about lots of various different topics of medicine. Mm-hmm. So you really have to, like, do your own research and figure out, like, what's actually going on, and not just assume that the government is doing the best possible job and that the response is adequate. Like, he thinks the government, why would they purposely blow up their economy? I'm not saying that they would purposely blow up their economy. I'm saying that out of fear, they are focusing on precaution too much, and it's going to hurt us in the future, and they don't realize that. They're focusing so much on the now and preventing deaths that they're not thinking about how this will negatively affect our economy moving forward 10 years, 20 years in the future. It's really devastating for people who are making a living operating these small businesses. And yeah, maybe I have more of a personal connection to this just because I have a small business, and it's just something that I think about. And, you know, I have employees, I have things that I do for my business, and most people don't have to worry about that. They just have to, like, clock in, and they get unemployment if they don't.
Well, you have the experience of having a small business, and most people don't. Most people are just employees. that don't know how it works, and they don't want to know how it works because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, running a business is a lot of work.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like files and tax things you have to do, and you have to pay people and give them benefits. It's like a whole process.
And it's a lot of money, and you put a lot of money on the line to do it.
Yeah.
It's not, and to make that living, but you get a lot back in return, but there's still a risk factor there. So.
Yeah, so I think it's easy for people who just clock in and clock out and who are eligible for unemployment to just be like, okay, well, I can just sit back. Let's just all sit back and just like let this thing happen. But you gotta understand, like, the government can't just print money. I mean, they can, but then the dollar will go down and we'll be a third world country.
Yeah, we have a.
It doesn't work like that.
We're part of this country too. We're not just bystanders and the government does everything. We make this country move. They say
Right.
essential businesses only. Every business is essential because that's why we're the powerhouse of the world. It's not just because the government does what they do. No, it's because we move the economy.
Right.
So if
people
we
are very
don't
like
do that-
disconnected from their own
Yeah.
country. I feel like they don't feel like we're
think,
part of it.
They think the president does everything. No, we do everything. I mean,
Right.
We're here.
The people have the power.
Yeah, we have the power. So
Yeah.
yeah. It's really about us. And I just want to say just because they're authority doesn't mean they're going to have the right decision. Authority figures make the wrong decisions all the time and ruin lives for people, like all the time. So I wouldn't always put your trust in authority.
Okay, it says, the Meta Enthusiast says, as a high-risk person myself and someone with high-risk family members, I can say it's posts like these that make me even more terrified about dying from COVID-19. Please try and educate yourself on the fact that people who may not be affected by it can still spread it to people who can be affected by it, even if they're social distancing. Yes, these are tough times, but the thing we all need to accept is that the more we ignore the recommended precautions, the longer this pandemic will last, and the more lives we will lose. So, yeah, I responded to that, and I said, the thing is, we have been fed conflicting information from the CDC this whole way through. There's been zero consistency. The shutdowns are destroying small businesses and upending people's livelihoods, which doesn't need to happen to be safe. Like I said, there has to be a balance. We can't shut down everything just to accommodate 4% of the population, because that will have a negative effect on a large majority of the population later on. And I truly believe that. I'm not here just trying to say fuck people who have disabilities.
Yeah, we're not saying, that 4% is gonna, they're gonna die anyway. I guess.
We obviously want to protect
we're saying
them.
Protect the 4% and
yeah.
let the 96% run their businesses.
We still need to run the country.
Yeah. So the country's still alive.
We can't just sit in our houses and let the American dollar drop to fucking zero and play Call of Duty all day long. It's just not. It's not feasible.
Everything's gonna be okay.
And that whole time, who's farming the food? Who's delivering it to your door?
Yeah.
There's still people who need to go and work. If everyone got a stimulus check, every single person, and everyone was told to stay indoors until there's a vaccine for potentially years, the farmers would have no incentive to farm food. There'd be no incentive for the drivers to drive it to the grocery store. There'd be no incentive for the grocers to work at the grocery store. And there'd be no incentive for Door Dashers to come and get it and pick it up and deliver it to your door, which you're so, accustomed to. You have to think about there's a facility, a faculty of things that happen to facilitate your happiness. There's a system in place. And if you give everyone money and tell everyone to shut up and stay indoors, then you won't have food. You won't have waste disposal. There's a system in place here. It just seems like an obvious thing to me that you can't just shut down a system, but people seem to think that you can, and the government can just give you money, and the money will just, money is just a substitute for labor. We give people pieces of paper, and then they do labor for us, whether that be create a new Lego for us, and then give me the Lego, or, do a job for me, take my car into the wash and have them, clean it. There's an exchange of value. Money doesn't just get you things; it gets you labor. You have to think about it in that context, I think. But I guess that's easy to forget. But for me, it just seems like everyone is just overlooking this, that our country isn't run by robots; it's run by people.
And we just had to get on the podcast because all we've been seeing on Twitter and Instagram lately is the opposite opinion to this, and frankly, it's disturbing. The amount of people who are just like, I'm good, just give us the lockdowns, please. People begging for lockdowns, and you need to hear the dissenting opinion. We need to hear.
Or like bragging, like I've been locked down since March.
Yeah.
Like I haven't left my house since March. What have y'all been doing? It's like we've been
I
working.
know.
Yeah.
People have been delivering you food.
I saw a post today that said something like saying that like most people don't die from COVID is gaslighting, and it's like no, it's literally the opposite. Like telling me
That's just the truth.
everyone is gonna die from COVID. Like that's the gaslighting.
It's just funny because like what I said in my initial 3 tweets, it's all true. The part about my opinion on if we should shut down or force people to wear masks or force people to stay in their homes or whatever, past 10 or whatever, that's an opinion. But the first part is a fact. If you're a healthy individual and catch COVID, it's highly unlikely that you will die from it. That's just true. And that's become like a controversial thing to say, apparently, these days, which is somewhat concerning. I think people are just really scared of this virus, and they really just shouldn't be. Like I feel like they should take the precautions, but we all just need to like understand that we work in a system. We're all cogs in a machine, and we have to start the machine up or it'll just start to decay.
And if everyone is so concerned about your health, then do something about your health. And I don't mean that in a lecturing way, but it is a little bit, because everybody's concerned about immunocompromised people and everything, and there's nothing. Silence, crickets from all the politicians. They want people that are disempowered and need their help. So
That's so true.
So don't look to them for help. They want you to be asking for help. But yeah, so I would just recommend getting yourself healthier, looking at eating better food and stuff.
So yeah, we may revisit this topic later on. It's just like, I kind of felt like I reached a breaking point today. And
yeah, I've been very disturbed by Instagram and Twitter recently.
just people's willingness to comply.
Yeah. It's like there's a little song called freedom.
It's just like the oversimplification of things too.
Yeah.
Like you're either like a full-on Joe Biden supporting liberal Democrat, or you're like
racist,
or you're a racist, like anti-masker.
Yeah.
Like there's no people are just
Racist,
not willing to
anti-masker,
like entertain the
vaxxer,
idea of like a gray area or an in-between in these topics. People literally read my tweet and they're like responding like with things that don't even relate to like what I was trying to say. I think like people just read it and they're like, oh, he's an anti-masker, and it's like, that's not, I didn't even say that. I didn't say that you shouldn't wear a mask. I just said that you shouldn't be told you have to or you'll go to jail. That's what I have a problem with. I think people should be given the freedom. I think people have the freedom, and it shouldn't be taken away from them to choose and make decisions for themselves based on how they feel and what they think is right. Okay, so yeah, I'd like to hear your guys' opinions about COVID in the comments down below. So if you have an opinion, if you think we're wrong, if you think we're right, let us know. I think this is an very important discussion. And I'd like to discuss it further with you guys. I think it's an ongoing discussion, so it's not going to be solved in a night. But just something I felt like I had to get off my chest. I like to push back against the grain, and I feel like a lot of my friends and family have been kind of falling into this pattern of like just listening to everything the news tells them. And you just have to understand you're being fed a narrative, and you choose what you do with that narrative. All right. So that being said, let's move on to the emails for the podcast. We're going to read, I think, just 2 emails today because we are running low on time. We're going a little bit over, but that's okay. First one is called Tough Question. And he says, Hey, clickers. I have a grandmother who owns a lovely house in South Carolina. The house is a 5-bedroom, 3-bath. This is a lovely home, but it lays dormant for most of the year as she lives with me and my parents in Maryland and travels there during the summer. As my grandmother has recently had her 86th birthday, my question is this. What is the polite way to ask her to give me the house in her will? I don't want to be pushy, and with her having 4 daughters and 6 grandchildren, I am sure that I, the youngest 20, am not at the top of the list. Sincerely, seeking a home in South Carolina. Well,
oh man,
I applaud your tenacity, but at the same time, I think the house should probably go to the eldest daughter.
Yeah.
Most likely. and
It
she can decide what
depends.
to do with the estate. I mean, it really depends on the grandmother. I don't know if there's anything you can do necessarily to convince her or ask her. I mean, she's 86.
Yeah.
She's old. I would just be nice to her, and maybe she'll be like, you know what? Just be nice to her anyway. But yeah, I wouldn't ask her.
Yeah, I wouldn't ask her. I feel like, I mean, I don't know the situation, but I feel like the house should go to one of her daughters that has been helping her the most, or that
Right.
the one that it makes the most sense for her to live in South
Usually
Carolina.
it goes to the eldest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Typically it would go to the eldest daughter, but in a special case, they might choose one of the younger daughters over the eldest just because of the help that they've been receiving from them or something to pay them back for their hard effort or something like that. Who knows what the situation's like? But yeah, I don't think it should go to you. maybe eventually.
I mean, if
Yeah,
no
maybe
one else,
eventually, yeah.
if everyone else can't live in South Carolina for whatever
But they
reason,
they can still have the house and sell it. It's not like they have to live in there,
Yeah.
It's still valuable.
Yeah, I don't know how to help you. I would want that house too.
Oh, yeah, it sounds amazing.
I would, if I were you, I'd definitely be like,
bath. Oh my lord.
I want that. But yeah, I don't know if you should ask.
I mean, maybe talk to whoever is supposed to get it.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that you're closer to the person that's probably gonna get it. So
Yeah.
I want to talk to your
I would
86-year-old
yeah,
grandma.
yeah.
She's probably whacked out of her mind on pills.
Yeah.
Who knows? She might be coherent. I don't know. I don't know your situation, but
maybe coherent.
that is a tough question, and I applaud the tenacity. But at the same time, I think maybe you should be a little more. Should have a little more couth than that. Couth. Thanks for writing in, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. All right. Next email. Last email. Reflections on sex. Email for Just for Clicks podcast.
Nice.
And guys, if you want to email us, if you have a question or a concern or just a wild story, let us know. Email us at justforclicks. That's just the number 4 clicks pod@gmail.com.
The sexier the better.
Literally, yeah. I always enjoy the sex questions. Hey, Forrest and Alyssa. Would you kindly keep my name anonymous as I go forward? Thanks, guys. I'm simultaneously shy and hesitant about the idea of losing my virginity. I'm 19 and want to wait until marriage. Both friends and family comment that I am pretty old to have not had sex yet. You're getting pretty old, huh? 19, still haven't boned anyone. Who says that?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's really
That's
inappropriate.
weird.
I feel like that's weird. My family is especially disappointed by my decision to wait until marriage to lose my virginity. Why?
Wow.
It's none of your family's business.
I've never heard of this before.
We're disappointed in you, son. When I was your age, I was a red rocket. I shot my seed all around town.
Why are they encouraging a pregnancy? Like, I don't understand.
That's weird. Yeah, usually their families are pretty, supportive.
They're
of
like,
not
don't
having-
you dare
don't
have
have sex.
They're mostly
My family is
like that.
especially disappointed by my decision to wait until marriage to lose my virginity. Their primary argument against it is that in order for me to have a successful marriage, I have to be very experienced. Very experienced. Very is bolded too.
That's very...
With one of my relatives in particular adding that having a run with... What? This is crazy. Hold on. I didn't proofread this one. I just knew this one was going to be juicy. I'm reading this for the first time. Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm going to read this last part, and you guys try not to flip out, all right? Their primary argument against it is that in order for me to have a successful marriage, I have to be very experienced, with one of my relatives in particular adding that having a run with an STI is a necessary experience.
What? Your family sounds fucking crazy.
Wait, is this from Alabama or something?
Wait, am I reading this right? Their primary argument against it is that in order for me to have a successful marriage, I have to be very experienced, with one of my relatives.
One of his relatives said that you have to have at least one STD or something.
Oh, I get it. Okay, I'm
Okay.
reading this wrong.
Jeez.
I'm reading this wrong. Okay, I got it.
One of his relatives.
He worded that very strangely.
One of
It
his-
made it sound like they
Wow.
wanted him to be very
Yeah,
experienced
wow.
with one of his relatives.
Yeah.
No. They're just saying that they want him to be experienced.
I have to be very experienced.
very
I'm so
experienced.
glad
With
we
one of
caught
my
that.
relatives.
I'm so glad we caught that.
One of the.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you, honey. I should have caught that. I knew I was fucking up somewhere, but yeah, that's just a really strange way of wording it, because it sounds like they're trying to get him to fuck one of his
No.
relatives. Okay.
But
We
his
got it.
family's
We're
just
moving
fucking
on.
crazy. But I don't
I
think
don't
they're
know.
trying
So
to.
one of his
Very
relatives added that having a run with an STI is a necessary experience. I don't think that's true at all.
That's That's a horrible way of thinking.
You do not want to have it at all.
You don't.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, I've never had a run-in with STIs because I'm safe, or I was, before I got married.
Yeah.
Thankfully. Got myself fucking tested.
Yeah, that's...
While I acknowledge your argument is valid, except the STI, I still want to remain faithful to my current decision. I think my decision stems from multiple past experiences and in my relatively short time on Earth. I haven't been in a relationship since I was in 7th grade. I pity dated a girl that I didn't really like. Been there. Likely, her family had to move across the country, and to cope with her loss of friends, she took drugs. I found out the next year that she died of an overdose.
Whoa.
Oh, that's so sad. Her death still bothers me despite me pity dating her and that I did not even like her. I keep wondering that if we did have sex, her death would have been even more traumatic for me. Another experience that contributed to my decision is just last year in college. One of the things my professor said that still bothers me is when my professor said that there's no such thing as a male rape victim. Only females can be a victim of rape because you need institutional power to rape another person.
My God.
This one's juicy, dude. This email is fucking... We could go on... we can make a whole podcast of this email.
That professor literally should not be allowed to work at your school.
Let me just...
Yeah, get in here, Sean.
I want to just send a picture of Brendan Fraser to that professor.
Why?
Because he was apparently sexually abused.
Oh, Brendan Fraser?
Yeah, I think by...
What, on the set of The Mummy?
No, by his wife or something. He was like...
Okay.
He was completely ruined.
But what about institutional... Wait, what was it? What was this fucking
I'm not
shit?
sure what he meant.
And what about... But how could she have raped Brendan Fraser if she didn't have the institutional power? That's ridiculous. I love professors, dude. Like they're always coming up with like new terms.
It really bothers me that professor like gets paid to say shit like that, and you're paying him.
Only females can be the victim of rape because you need institutional power to rape another person.
Why do we still listen to what professors have to say? We know they're all creeps.
The whole class, especially the other guys, agreed and nodded profusely.
That's stupid.
That sounds like a nice big circle jerk. This bothered me a lot.
I'm so glad I didn't go to college.
I want this guy to write back in. This is ridiculous. I have a lot of questions. This bothered me a lot as a guy because I feel like I am defenseless and cannot be met with sympathy after a bad sexual experience. This especially bothered me as my closest mentor was drugged by a woman in a bar in the 80s and was met with no support from the police. Gotcha. Okay. There's a couple more experiences I can think of, Forrest, but I wanted to keep my email as brief as I could. I also think that if I was a woman instead, people would also be more sympathetic to my decision to wait until marriage. Yeah, definitely. I love what you guys are doing, and I hope you guys keep it up. Sweet. Wow, that was a really...
Great email.
Interesting email.
That was insane.
Yeah, I appreciate you writing in. Wow, it's just wild because, like, why would this professor even, like, spend the time in his class, like, teaching this nonsense? Like, like what was the class?
Teachers don't really teach what they're.
What are they doing in college? You're just wasting your time.
Ramble. They always kind of ramble, and you never know what.
You're taking like ethics or something.
You never know what your kid is gonna get.
Yeah, that's probably some like women's studies or like
lib?
gender studies or something class. I don't know.
There are 14 different genders. God damn, that's so crazy.
That's insane.
Well, yeah, no, women can definitely rape men. It's a lot more rare than men raping women statistically,
Sure.
but it can happen. It has happened.
Yeah.
It's been known to happen, so that's just ridiculous. Women can absolutely rape men. Any kind of sexual act on you without your consent is rape, so that's just ridiculous. What else did he say? Yeah, your idea to wait until marriage, while it's not something that, I wanted to do with my life, I think I wanted to get experience in, and I was always, kind of like looking for someone to date long term. I was never like a person who was like, I just want to fuck as many chicks as I possibly can. I was always like, I want to meet someone and settle down. But I was also like open to, trying different things and doing, new experiences. I think you are somewhat limiting yourself in this way, because you're not going to have the same amount of experiences. I think you're kind of shorthanding yourself a bit, but at the same time, that's your decision, and we do that all the time in life, and I think if you're confident about it, you shouldn't let anyone else deter you, and if it works for you, it works for you. So I think that's perfectly normal. I wouldn't feel bad about it. Maybe it's not perfectly normal, but
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not.
it's definitely more normal, like in the Christian
done.
Christian realm.
Yeah.
If you're not Christian and you're doing that, I feel like it's a little bit
It's more odd.
strange and abnormal, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. I think you're doing it for the right reasons. What do you think, honey?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like practical reasons for waiting until you're married, or at least waiting until you're with someone who you plan on marrying, I guess. So
Right.
like a fiance situation. You know, like you said, and like prevents STIs. You'll prevent having a baby with someone that you don't want to have a baby with.
That's a big one.
So yeah, I think, your decision should be respected. I don't think there's anything wrong with what you're doing. Like, it's your body. It's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's just important that you're confident in it, and it sounds like you're pretty confident in it. So don't let all these other wackos tell you, like, what you should do with your body. Fuck
Yeah,
them.
I think they all need to mind their own business.
Yeah, totally.
And,
Especially that professor. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and
Fuck him right in his butt.
Yeah, your family needs some serious boundaries.
They need some boundaries.
Yeah, your family sounds like
The
a
realist.
little bit strange, like to be so concerned with this, like maybe a little bit insecure, like your dad might be
Yeah.
insecure or something, like he wants his son to be like this big man on campus or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal is with that, but there's some sort of weird like complex going on there that I don't even have time to get into.
Yeah, there's
like
some-
I said, there's like the whole, we could make a whole podcast out of this one email.
There's some things you just don't need to share with your family. You just don't. But yeah, I just want to say,
Yeah, for real.
You
That's
know,
what friends are for and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I respect your decision, but also I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself to it. I think.
Yeah.
I think you really got to read the room. If you're with somebody and it feels like the moment's right, just go for it, man. You want to. You only live once. You know what I mean? Like, don't make yourself wait for something. But that's just the inner male talking in me. but yeah, I think do it feels right. I think to you.
All right, guys, that'll do it for this podcast, this episode of Just for Clicks. Join us next week on the podcast where we will be talking about paper mache. No, we won't. That's just bullshit. But thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody. It's
Happy
Christmas.
Thanksgiving.
And happy
also.
Thanksgiving.
Totally.